Animal Crossing New Horizons arrived in our lives at a time when we needed it the most. What started as an anticipated game release quickly became a worldwide phenomenon, offering a virtual escape from the chaos of reality.
The power of this game extended beyond its charming visuals and cozy gameplay. It provided comfort, connection, and a sense of normalcy in a world turned upside down.
For us, New Horizons was our first Animal Crossing experience. We didn't quite know what to expect beyond cute animals and island life, but what we found was something much deeper. A world where everyone starts from scratch, building their dream island step by step. A world where effort, creativity, and patience can turn a deserted island into a thriving home. And most importantly, a world where friendships, both virtual and real, flourished in ways we never expected.
As the world outside was locked down, we opened up our island to others. We invited our globby friends over for virtual gatherings, celebrating birthdays, and creating new traditions. For some, this game became a way to stay connected with family members they couldn't see in person. For others, like us, it was a sanctuary, a digital utopia where we could relax and breathe amid the uncertainty. I mean, we were playing often, at minimum of an hour to even a few hours at a time, and as we progressed our island, the amount of things for us to do and interact grew alongside it. Like, it was part of our daily routine. It was something to do. It's a bit embarrassing to admit in retrospect, but our days typically started not with breakfast, but with checking out Nook's Cranny, hoping there were cool things to buy, things we couldn't conceivably have in real life, and then trying to figure out where it would go best. The same could be said about clothing with the Able sisters once we unlocked their clothing shop. It was something to look forward to.
Helping the residents of the island and its visitors with their concerns felt like we had value again in some small way. And building up our island gave us a sense of purpose, something to work towards that was stress-free and relaxing. Small tasks like shaking trees for goodies, planting fruit, hitting rocks hoping to strike it rich, being able to farm, crossbreed flowers, and discover new recipes to both craft and cook peppered our everyday island life. Finding Gulliver for the first time washed ashore was honestly concerning but rewarding. But dude needs to stop going overboard and get his ducks in order. Oh, and running into Wisp at night, what a cutie, accidentally scaring her and helping her put herself back together, like literally were nice little surprises. And shout out to Money Trees. You can plan up to 10,000 bells to get a nice return of 30,000 once it grows. If only money truly did grow on trees, just ignore the economic ramifications of that and let us fantasize, okay? We even hosted our first live stream just 1 week after its release and kicked things off with Tank and Sylvia as our very first villagers. To this day, Tank is still with us as our OG sporty villager friend for life. Sylvia's gone. She's not invited back.
All that being said, what began as a humble start quickly turned into something more creative as we learned more about the systems the game had to offer. We even made our own island tune after the greatness that is Zelda's Lullaby. Beyond setting up our ideal island lives with purposeful furniture and building arrangements, there also was the freedom to design patterns and other types of simple art around the island. Fun fact, we released our first in-game merch, as you might call it, through the game's custom design feature, crafting unique themed clothing items. And we've actually created over 80 designs featured on real-world merch across stickers, apparel, and so much more. So to be able to see some of that represented in the game was really cool. It was an entirely new kind of artistic expression for us in a modern Nintendo game. It came with a learning curve, but also an exciting opportunity to bring our creativity into a whole new place.
Not only that, but we were truly blown away by the incredible fan art and in-game glob designs created by our community too. It's something we will always cherish, and we are endlessly grateful for the creativity and love poured into each piece.
1 month after the game's release, spring was in full bloom, with cherry blossoms painting the island in a vibrant pink. As we remained indoors, longing for the outside world, experiencing the falling petals and pastel trees felt like a breath of fresh air. However, it was around this time that we realized that the local co-op wasn't as seamless or robust as we had hoped, but at least online play offered a more enjoyable way to connect with others. Being able to do things, many of which we did on stream, like stargazing, listening to KK Slider jam it up on Saturdays, and reading out letters friends sent us through the in-game mail, just to name a few, was such a vibe, and a positive one at that, which was certainly in short supply.
We also remember Tank's birthday, our first big in-game celebration. It was a moment of pure joy during a time when real-life celebrations were canceled. Moments like these reminded us of the importance of small joys and the power of shared experiences, even if they took place in a virtual world. We loved inviting members of our Glob community over to celebrate, even though only one of us could be on the island at a time during online play. Thankfully, Doza, who's usually player 1 in our relationship, didn't mind letting me take the lead for these streams, making the experience even more special for me personally. Also, did anyone else get really into the stock exchange? We would spend a lot of time turnip grinding, and even got help from a few of y'all over the years, turning our yield into a pretty decent fortune. We've definitely lost a few turnips too from simply forgetting about them, and we certainly learned more about flipping stocks in this silly little game than we ever did in the American education system, and it was a lot more fun too.
And the seasons continued to change, both in reality and in game. While spring brought cherry blossoms and a sense of renewal, summer brought fireworks, beachside relaxation, and unforgettable memories. We celebrated New Shindoza's anniversary with a classic summer shindig, bonfires, a tour of our newly terraformed island, and had a spin the wheel set up for prizes. Very popular. And in true summer fashion, vacations to our Glob Community's islands was all made possible by the ever-reliable, always quirky Dodo Airlines. We also really got into island touring, trying for a select few villagers to improve the vibe of our island to our personal taste, many of which could have been food-themed. This is because we were terrible at the card game trying to convince new villagers to move here through the campsite, so this at least gave us more hope in that sense.
It was around this time where we started taking the game more seriously. We had somewhat of an idea of our island fleshed out, but there still was always more to do. Really studying Red's art offerings was like its own mini event. Filling out our museum was becoming more and more of a priority for us because it was so cool seeing it fill up from our efforts. Sadly, it was always a little hard turning down Blathers when we refused to hear his facts about every little thing we brought him, whether it was bugs, which he hated, or fossils, which he loved. And while we could help Harvey with his photography, we were more interested in getting our own perfect pictures so we could use them for our stream thumbnails or for random Instagram posts for holidays. But my greatest accomplishment at the time was getting our rock quarry in order. Essentially, rocks spawn randomly over most of the island, so you have to get creative with custom designs on the ground to sort of corral them into a specific area of the island when they spawn the next day. This takes a lot of time, and once you get it right, you can't break them anymore. But honestly, the convenience was worth it, and it looks nice anyway. And as fall arrived with warm hues and cozy festivities, the leaves transformed into vibrant shades of red and orange, and we were reminded again of how the seasonal shift brought us a comforting sense of change and beauty while we were still social distancing and isolating indoors.
With Halloween, Turkey Day, and the holidays fast approaching, we took advantage of the opportunity to decorate Glob Isle to make the island feel even more festive and inviting. Pumpkin patches glowing under the moonlight, dressing up in adorable costumes, and the thrill of trick-or-treating. It was the perfect spooky aesthetic filled with charm and just the right amount of mischief. By this point, it seemed like everybody had mastered their islands. It was actually a thing to have island envy, and some people, not us, would even avoid playing because their islands weren't blowout amazing as some others you'd see on social media. And some of the Halloween-themed islands were amazing. Ours was certainly humble by comparison, but as they say, comparison is the thief of joy.
By now, the year was hitting its final stride. Winter was magical. Snow blanketing our islands with twinkling lights on trees and the northern lights painting the sky. It gave us the snowy beauty and festive celebrations we longed for outside our windows, and each event here and after would be a bright spot in an otherwise challenging few years. And Toy Day? Toy Day was filled with festive joy. The excitement of delivering presents for our beloved villagers and sending season's greetings through the mail felt just like when we've sent physical cards to globs in our community over the years to spread cheer. It was a heartwarming reminder of the magic of giving.
When we counted down to a new year live on our island with our Globby Globs, it was more than just a virtual party. It was a moment of togetherness, a reminder that we weren't alone, even when the world felt closed off, and it was emotional yet comforting. The fireworks, the friends, and the hope of better years to come.
New Horizons was therapeutic for us. The simple act of fishing at dusk, endlessly rearranging flowers, or watching shooting stars to collect star fragments became moments of mindfulness with a touch of productivity. In a time filled with stress and uneasiness, it gave us control over something that was just pure, wholesome fun. We could terraform, decorate, and create a world that felt safe and peaceful, a stark contrast to everyday life. From countless hangouts with friends, hosting fashion shows to show off our best drip, dream visits to check out those islands that put in way more hours than we ever wished we could, and even grinding away at Nook Mile achievements, it truly felt like there was something for every type of gamer, obsessive or otherwise. And when they added the gyroids, forget about it! Another system to sink our teeth into, they were cute, quirky, and imperfect. That was their charm, their value, and they even made little noises too, so you already know we had to collect as many as we could and stick them in the basement.
Of course, no game is perfect. New Horizons had its quirks and frustrations, long loading times, limited multiplayer and co-op interactions, and Tom Nook's constant reminder of the real world through soul-crushing debt. But despite all of this, we kept coming back, because at its core, this game was more than a game. It was a feeling, a warm, inviting hug when we needed it most. Every time we booted it up, being greeted by Isabel. Yeah, some may say blah useless, get to the game, but nah. It was nice seeing her fumble about, giving us her all over nothing. It was certainly better than the real news highlights of the day, I'll tell you what. Over the years, the game would receive updates both big and small, and each time was like new life was being injected into the game, and by proxy, us. When Captain and his boat ride were added, I don't think we've ever skipped out on hearing his heartfelt songs outside of grinding. And when Brewster made it into the game, just wow. If a vibe was ever a vibe, it was at Brewster's sipping coffee up with the real ones.
They would add more holiday events to the game like Festival, themed after, you guessed it, the Brazilian Carnival, and maybe a little Mardi Gras too, complete with an energetic dancing peacock named Pave. And for the holidays, they never got around to adding. We did it ourselves, like the Volley, the Festival of Lights, because why not? You can't stop us. Eventually, we too would achieve our greatest island goal, hitting a 5-star approval rating and getting the special flower that went along with it.
But like all good things, they come to an end. We fully engulfed ourselves in every update Nintendo put out. They added swimming and the iconic Pascal? Anyways, who always hits you in the feels with some cheeky life advice. And Harv's Island also got a lot more robust, with a whole caravan of colorful characters to interact with. We unlocked more haircuts from Harriet, got even more seedlings from Leaf, bought carpets from Sahara, shoes and accessories from Kick, got our fortune told by Katrina, customized furniture with Cyrus and Reese, and even interacted with good old Tortimer. Like we've said before, this game is such a vibe, with a cast of unique and thoughtfully introduced characters.
Even now, the magic of Animal Crossing remains. What's changed is us, built over years of collective experiences. The game is still the same, for better or for worse. We still find ourselves returning every few months or so, cleaning up our homes, reminding our villagers we didn't forget about them, and getting a nice dose of tranquility. With the exception of the flowers. If you let them, they will absolutely take over your island. It's a flowers world and we're all just living in it. But one thing that will always remain are the memories. The memories of community, creativity, and comfort.
And you know what would be super awesome? A new Animal Crossing game. It's almost a certainty with the Switch 2 coming out this year. It's just a matter of when, and I'd seriously doubt we'd have to contend with all the shortcomings of New Horizons. A glob can dream. True couch co-op would be so awesome. Y'all don't even know.
So thank you, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and the Globby Globs that played with us for giving us a peaceful place to belong, for giving us joy when we needed it most, and for reminding us that even in the most challenging times, a little virtual island paradise can make all the difference.